Welcome into Outkick the coverage. I appreciate all of you and hope you are having a fantastic Wednesday wherever you may be across this country or this great land. I want to say something off the top here. Friday, 2 days from now, I will be doing Adam Carolla's podcast live at Zanies in Nashville. If you are in any way a fan of either of ours, it should be a really good conversation. Adam Carolla is going to be on the radio program tomorrow. And then on Friday at 7 o'clock in Nashville, I'm going to be at Zanies with him. And then after that event, he is going to do a stand-up routine that should be a lot of fun. And he's in Nashville on Friday and Saturday. It's open tickets. It's a total. If you're looking for a normal night out, Zanies Comedy Club is back open, and we should have a lot of fun talking about all of the insanity that is going on in the world of everything right now. I've been a fan of Adam Carolla for a long time, since back in the day on Loveline. Also, certainly with Jimmy Kimmel and The Man Show back in the day. And I think it's going to be a fun conversation on the radio tomorrow. And also, I'm excited to do the podcast. So that is at least out there, live podcast, also a stand-up act. You can go check that out at Zanies, and you will be ready to roll. Coronavirus, off the top, we are continuing to kick the coronavirus's ass. And I want to give props to NASCAR. NASCAR has now said that they are bringing fans back in Florida and in Alabama. Florida this weekend, Alabama next weekend, down at Homestead and also at Talladega. Small crowds to begin with, but the precedent that is being set is large, that fans can return and watch sports. The overall trend rate of infection continues to fall. 4.2% was the infection rate positivity yesterday, down to 18,000 cases. What we have seen, and this is significant, we have not seen any surge from the protest. So what I have been saying from the get-go about why this is significant is if you can have hundreds of thousands of people protesting, the virus doesn't care what your motivation is. It's not like the virus says, oh, well, I agree with this protest, so I'm not going to infect someone, but oh, these idiots are just going to a football game, so I'm going to infect them instead. It's all about the health situation. And if there's not a massive increase in overall viruses after hundreds of thousands of people are out in the streets protesting, which so far there has not been. Remember, the contagion period, the incubation period, is an average of 4 to 5 days. So we're now on to Wednesday. So by the end of the week, we basically are going to be through all of the fallout from the 2 weeks of protest. And we have not yet seen any kind of spike at all. So if there's not going to be a spike from the protests, I don't understand how you can remotely make an argument that you can't do events outdoors in large numbers. Okay? Just my 2 cents looking at the data. And so as a result, I think that is a move that makes a lot of sense to return us to, in some way, a sense of normalcy from a sports fan perspective. The numbers continue to decline precipitously. Tuesday was the lowest number of deaths and infections on a Tuesday in a long time, except for Memorial Day weekend when the Tuesday basically became a Wednesday. I don't know why Tuesday. A lot of people catch up with numbers over the weekend, which is why over March, April, May, and now into June, Tuesday has tended to be the worst day of the week. And the worst day of the week is now better than the best days of the week were even in April and May. So we are moving rapidly towards a return to normalcy there on the coronavirus perspective. I got a lot of stories to hit here, so let's roll. I got an idea for Major League Baseball. This actually came from a reader. I'm going to talk about it on the radio show tomorrow as well. I'm going to keep talking about it because I think it's a great idea. Major League Baseball is going to disappoint all of us by not being back on July 4th. They have managed to go back and forth negotiation-wise such that they have blown a return on July 4th weekend. Well, one of our readers and listeners sent me a message, and I try to zoom through them in a hurry. I don't see everything because I get so many DMs and emails and everything else. I appreciate how interactive many of you are with me. I can barely keep up with all of the data. But somebody sent me a message and said, hey, Why doesn't Major League Baseball do a home run derby on July 4th? Love the idea. Major League Baseball, even if they're not back with official games, should take over July 4th and do a home run derby for charity. They should do it in an iconic stadium, maybe Yankee Stadium in New York City, because that could be like a "Hey, New York is back" sort of celebration. Maybe Wrigley Field, maybe Chavez Ravine in LA for the Dodgers. Somewhere, bring the 8 or 10 best home run hitters in baseball, who otherwise would be down at spring training, theoretically, bring them in and have a massive charity event on July 4th. You could do it at Fenway as well. Pick an iconic stadium and put on an incredible home run derby on July 4th. Follow it up with a fantastic fireworks display and basically let it be a Valentine from Major League Baseball back to all of the fans out there who are desperately wanting for sports to return. To me, this is a genius idea. I give props to the guy who sent it to me. I'm going to keep pumping it, but I want some positivity here from Major League Baseball. This would go, I think, for the owners and the players, a long way towards helping to deal with the frustration that many fans, including myself, have that baseball hasn't been able to get back. Give us a July 4th home run derby. If you remember a few years ago, Bryce Harper, decked out in the Captain America gear, won the home run derby. I believe that was in Philadelphia, wherever it was taking place. It was wildly popular. Let everybody go all in on a celebration for a return to normalcy on July 4th. Make it happen, Major League Baseball, owners, players, agents, television networks, everybody. Let's get together, do something positive, raise a lot of money for charity, and give us a sporting event to celebrate on July 4th. How about MLS? I got to give a huge props to the MLS here. Bundesliga is back in Germany, Serie A back in Italy, La Liga back in Spain, and we also have, who else is out there? The English Premier League back in England. All of those soccer leagues in 3 countries, England, Spain, and France, which have England, Spain, and Italy, which have a drastically higher per capita death rate than the United States, all of them are back. And so I have to give props, even though it's late, to MLS on managing to return before any other American pro sports league. It appears that July 8th, MLS will be back from Disney. Give props to Disney Company for working to get the NBA and MLS back to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. July 8th, a big tournament going on for the MLS. I got to give credit to soccer. Even if a lot of you aren't soccer fans, even if a lot of you are triggered by soccer being the first one back, that is the right play, MLS. Props to you for beating the NHL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball back. I think they probably took the lead from all the European soccer teams and leagues that managed to get back as well. But after a long shutdown, remember, basically team sports in America stopped around March 11th when Rudy Gobert tested positive for the coronavirus. April, May, June, we're not going to have much of anything in terms of American team sports. 4 months after the shutdown, they're effectively going to be back at the beginning of July. That is a story worth being excited about, and again, gives further evidence to us returning to a sense of normalcy. Reggie Bush, his disassociation from USC is over. Thank God. This was a failure. I believe that many things change in the world of sports, and one of the ideas is improper benefits. I think the vast majority of you out there believe, as I do, that it is absurd that Reggie Bush in any way was disassociated from USC or lost his Heisman Trophy. This is not a guy who was cheating the game. He was just taking advantage of the fact that a lot of people were impressed by his talents and his parents had a better house than they otherwise might have had while he was at USC. I don't blame him at all. I don't think he did anything wrong. I believe that he deserves his Heisman Trophy back, and the punishment of disassociation was absurd. I don't believe anybody. Look, if you cheat the game, and by cheat the game, I mean are proven to take steroids or some other performance-enhancing drug, I understand the idea that you would have to serve a punishment. But taking money for your talent is the very definition of American capitalism. Why in the world would any American capitalist like me be upset because somebody wanted to be compensated for their talent. This was a bad decision by the NCAA. USC followed it. It is now being rectified. Good for USC. Congrats to Reggie Bush. Now the Heisman Trophy Trust needs to send his Heisman back to him, put his image back up as a winner. I understand some of you are like, wait a minute, Vince Young should have gotten it. You can certainly make an argument that Vince Young was the best player in college football that year. But he didn't win the trophy. If they had voted after the national championship game, he would have. That's why, by the way, I've been arguing for a while, the Heisman Trophy should not be voted on until the end of the season when the full body of work is complete. But Reggie Bush deserves his Heisman Trophy back. This is one that has finally gotten rectified, and we've reached the right decision. Also, I don't care about Zion getting paid. You can go read about it at Outkick. We are blowing up, going to have millions of readers this month on Outkick. In addition to the millions of video viewers and the millions of listeners and everything else, our Outkick universe, our business is blowing up in a really big way. So thank you for all that support. But Zion Williamson is now under fire. He may have to testify about improper benefits at Duke. I don't care. I don't care what Zion got at Duke. I don't care very much about college basketball improper benefits at all anymore, because the evidence all reflects that everybody who is any good in college basketball is getting paid somehow. Either from a shoe company, either from a high school coach, from somebody in your family. That is capitalism. What should happen is, and I've been arguing this for years, the one and done rule shouldn't exist. If you're good enough to go pro in the NBA, or go pro in the G League, or go pro overseas. Don't expect that you're going to get top players to come play in college completely for free. I just don't care about this story at all in terms of trying to take down Coach K or anything else, okay? I'm over it. And I think as a college basketball fan base and as a sports fan base, almost everybody is over this as well. The Zion story is intriguing, but we already know all of the details because of the investigation that the FBI did, which basically uncovered everybody was getting paid at every different level by Nike or Adidas or Under Armour or whoever the shoe companies were. This is easy to follow along with. I can't believe I'm already talking about him. Arch Manning is poised to become one of the greatest recruiting stories in college football. This kid, if you don't know his story already, we got an article up about him at Outkick. He's now 6'3". He's a rising sophomore at Isidore Newman High School in New Orleans, and he threw 34 touchdown passes as a freshman. He is now 6'3", 195 pounds as a sophomore. He is the grandson of Archie Manning, the nephew of Peyton and Eli, the son of Cooper Manning, and he is the next great Manning passing star at the quarterback position. This kid is going to have every college football team in America trying to sign him up. Now, I want to push the brakes a little bit because he's only whatever he is, a sophomore in high school. But already he has got the patina of Manning family greatness upon him. He's an athlete. He's got a cannon for an arm. He seems to be a mix between Archie and Peyton and Eli. Remember, Peyton and Eli didn't get their father's athleticism. If you watch Archie back in the day, Archie was a lot more like Johnny Manziel or RG3 than he was like Peyton or Eli, who neither one are particularly athletic. And so if you look at Archie Manning, who's going to get him? Ole Miss? Ole Miss fans, you know every time you got a Manning son coming through, this is your opportunity to finally go to the SEC title. Lane Kiffin's got to be blowing up that phone already. Tennessee? Clemson? LSU? Is Arch Manning going to want to start his own career and go to his own school? Clemson? I don't know. But it's going to be fun to watch. All the coaches are already after him in a big way, and he's going to put up some incredible numbers over the next few years. How about Jameis? Speaking of incredible numbers, Jameis Winston said, and I quote, "Historically, I'm one of the best quarterbacks to play." Jameis Winston, who just signed for under $1 million to be Drew Brees' backup, said, and I quote, "Historically, I'm one of the best quarterbacks to play." And a lot of people out there, I saw this comment underneath all these quotes, and I think it's pretty outstanding. A lot of people said, I think he misspoke. I think he meant to say, hysterically, I'm one of the best quarterbacks to play. Hysterically, I'm with you. Jameis Winston eating the W's, squinting, although he's now got LASIK, joining the 30-30 club, throwing an interception to begin his career at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and an interception to end his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How incredible is that? The first pass he ever threw was a pick six. The last pass he ever threw was a pick six. Along the way, he was a turnover machine, yet Jameis Winston is arguing, historically, I'm one of the best quarterbacks to play. So historically that you're not a starting quarterback now, and you got less than $1 million a year to be a backup quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. I love the Jameis Winston confidence. That is incredible. That is Clay Travis A+ level confidence. But there is nothing to back up in his NFL career the idea that he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. That's amazing. Amazing quote, though. It's impossible not to enjoy that one. All right, finally. I abhor cancel culture. You guys know that my position is I'm a First Amendment absolutist. If you dislike something, argue against it, not against the idea of it existing. Okay, this is a big distinction. If you hate one of my opinions and you want to argue with one of my opinions, I disagree with you because attack the premise of my opinion. I disagree with you, and you should no longer have the ability to make a living or to have a job is cancel culture. And what we are seeing is a triumph of cancel culture all over this country. And cancel culture is now infiltrating in a big way all of the different parts of our culture, such that the most recent absurdity I have seen, did you guys see this? HBO Max has pulled Gone with the Wind off of their streaming service because they consider it offensive in the wake of Black Lives Matter protests and the death of George Floyd. All right? So, this is insane. This is ridiculous. Primarily because, let's start here, Hattie McDaniel, who became the first minority to ever win an Oscar, is the best supporting actress in the film. So cancel culture has now canceled out the first African American or minority to ever win an Oscar. This is lunacy, okay? This is a travesty of common culture. If you do not like something, don't watch it. If you do not like something, don't listen to it. There is a difference between that's not worth watching or listening to and I don't believe anyone should be able to watch or listen to that, okay? Make arguments against anything without the goal or desire of canceling out someone. Our government and our society is more advantaged by diverse opinion than anything. It's why I have been arguing we have lost this in the 21st century. Our two worst decisions as a country were the coronavirus shutdown, going on as long as it has, and the war in Iraq. Both of those decisions, which cost us trillions of dollars and lots of lost lives and lost focus and disastrous consequences, were bipartisan because people were afraid to argue against them. If you didn't support the war in Iraq, you weren't a patriot. You weren't willing to respond emotionally after 9/11. I didn't support the war in Iraq. If you didn't support the lockdown and everybody losing their jobs and everybody staying inside their houses forever, then you didn't care about life. I didn't support the lockdown. We didn't have a robust and uninhibited debate because people were afraid of getting canceled by social media, by being picked apart by mobs on social media. Unanimity of opinion most of the time is not a good thing. And unanimity of opinion in emotional times is even more dangerous because it loses us the ability to make rational and reasoned and logical arguments. There is no reasonable person who believes that Gone with the Wind should be banned. Banning things is what totalitarian dictators and fascists do. That's book burning. It's not what the most reasoned and intelligent and creative system in all of the history of the world, which is our society, should be doing. We look like idiots when we make decisions like these. We look more like China than we do the America that I am in love with. I appreciate all of you. My name is Clay Travis. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. This has been Outkick the Show. Tomorrow, Adam Carolla on Outkick the Coverage. Make sure you download the podcast. We gave away 5 different autographed books for great 5-star reviews. Go give us a 5-star review of Outkick content. And Danny G, my producer, is going through and reading it well. I appreciate all of you. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. I'm Clay Travis, and this has been Outkick the Show. See y'all. Love you. Thank you, Facebook.